everybody, and welcome to another episode of RXP Podcast, the podcast where three working professionals, or maybe four working professionals this year, talk about the games, movies, and TV shows that they love and enjoy. My name is Tiffany, and I'm your host for today's episode, where we get to talk about something very fun. My co-hosts include Alex.
Hello, hello.
Matt.
What's going on?
And a welcome return to our fourth chair, Yasser.
Yellow, your boy's back.
He's back and he's ready to start 2024 hot off the presses with us. We're so excited to have him back. And today's episode, we're going to talk about Fantasy Critic, which is a really fun fantasy draft with video games. We've been doing it now. This is going to be our third year.
This is our fourth.
Right?
This is our fourth year.
Our fourth year doing it together. First time for Yasser. And I'm really excited to talk about it. We're going to kind of go over our standings from last year first. Audience, you will not believe who came out on top. It was Matt. Believe Studios came out, won by 6 points. I came in second. Alex came in third.
Let's just say, wait, why would they not believe that I was on top? You guys aren't going to believe if you had 3 tries, you'll get it on your last try. It's Matt.
That's...
yeah.
You know, like they say, 3 strikes and you're out, so you had to get it this time, otherwise we kick you off the pod.
Yeah, this is...
Oh my
gosh.
Yeah, Yasser was waiting in the wings, you know? Matt, give us some highlights of your high points, your hard hitters of your games.
You know, I had Silksong, drop me a nothing, because, we might get to this a little bit later, but, if they're on my team, doesn't mean they're going to come out. But, I had Final Fantasy 16. I had Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Those were 2 of probably the highest hitting things. You got Starfield and, nobody seemingly like Starfield online, but hey, got me 15 points. So I don't know, I got a lot of 80s this year, which I'm completely fine with. I will say though, I thought I was screwed because this entire year one of my most anticipated games was Lies of P last year, which I actually still haven't played. But anyway, I was worried because I counterpicked it on draft day, and then it didn't come out until September or something. And then I was waiting, and I was like, dang it, this is gonna be freaking 10s out of 10s, and it ended up with just an 82. So I only had -12, but happy with my list. Didn't even have Elden Ring, which that was my big hitter from 2 years ago, but somehow found a way.
Honestly, I'm looking at your list, and the only 2 games that we counterpicked 2 of your games, and those were the only 2 games that didn't come out. And so you basically had points everywhere. Yeah. You did great. You did counterpick 2 of my games, and that's where you lost your points. So
what I did.
That's called karma.
Look what I did.
Yeah, look what you did. So I actually didn't fill out my list last year. If I had gotten one more game that would have at least gotten me 7 points, I would have won. And
Shame
you know
on
what?
you.
When it came to December, there was just nothing coming out. The last 2 games I picked were Ghost Runner 2 and Song of Nunu, a League of Legends stories. And those were came out in November, October 26th for Ghost Runner 2, November 1st for Song of Nunu. And I was what's even coming out after that? I couldn't really pick anything. But yeah, my highest scoring game was Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Got me 32
points. Oh my god.
32 points. That was phenomenal. But then also a couple of my games didn't come out. Plucky Squire didn't come out, which was a bummer for me because I wanted to play it. And then I think my next highest scoring game was Cocoon.
Oh,
which
great.
I heard people talking about, and that's why I picked it.
Matt played that recently, right?
Platinumed it.
What did you think?
I liked it.
Just as a quick summary.
It was a really quick, fun puzzler. Probably the best puzzle game I played all year, but the problem was I platinumed in 4 hours. It was really
That's a really short game.
So I would definitely, I think 87 probably fits well. if this is like a 10-hour game, like if they were able to like reinvent enough to have like a 10-hour puzzle game, that would be like a 10 out of 10. Like they might have something there, but I don't know. Fun time. I did see that you didn't fill out your list, and since I'm really competitive, I just never mentioned Fantasy Critic to you or Alex. Just like maybe they won't notice that she still has a gap on her team.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I was just really afraid that whatever I picked in the last month would give me negative points. You know, like shovelware. Like I just picked something that was, you know, in the eShop that just released, you know, and it got like a 69.
Nice.
So that's why I kind of like, you know what, 0 points is better than negative points.
Yeah.
My only follow-up question to Cocoon: how much was it?
Well, so I paid for it and it was on sale, and then Yasser goes, "Hey, you know that's on Game Pass?" And I was like, "No, I didn't." So I paid for free. But you know what? You got to support independent developers. You know what I mean?
That's true. You're right. I should really just do that.
But it was like it was like $20.
It was $20 on the sale, right? Yeah.
That's cool. Alex, what's Chic Games? What was their year like?
Man, it was carried by my initial hype. You know, my highest scoring games were the ones I drafted in our initial draft last year. Spider-Man 2 being my top scoring game, you know, 90 points. And surprisingly, Sea of Stars up there, you know, right behind it, 89. But yeah, I think coming in dead last, looking at my draft, a lot of my games are very just okay, which is, you know, kind of par for the course, right? It's not every game can be great, but just a few of the games hit a lot lower than I thought. You know, I drafted stuff like Wild Hearts. You know, I thought that could be a potential Monster Hunter competitor, and it kind of was until they stopped supporting it, or they announced that they would stop updating it. So they obviously gave up on that. And then stuff like Disney Illusion Island, you know, that was a 2D platformer that I thought would do a lot better, especially because it's Disney themed. You know, you're jumping around as like Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy. But I guess it just didn't do that well, 74. And most surprisingly, I would say, is Counter-Strike 2. You know, people love Counter-Strike. You know, the decades of PC gaming, right? Counter-Strike, Counter-Strike Source, 1.6, you know, all that good stuff. You know, was it Global Offensive? And only 77. So honestly, I just picked a lot of things that I thought would have a lot more hype, but then ended up not really reaching the mark. So that's the lesson.
You know, I gotta agree with you, Alex. I was pretty surprised by Counter-Strike 2 as well, considering it's like one of the most popular games that's been played in 2023, and it sits at a 77 Open Critic score. A little surprising. So I definitely feel for you there.
Yeah.
Also, just highlighting, you drafted Pikachu, Detective Pikachu.
Oh yeah,
Returns.
we don't talk about Pikachu.
Okay, because that was kind of rough.
That was the one game that got me negative points. So
yeah,
that's the redheaded step rat that we don't talk about.
Oh my god, you were like, I thought people liked that game.
Yeah,
well, guess not.
Maybe they liked the first one.
It's because it wasn't Ryan Reynolds voicing him.
Yeah, or Danny DeVito. Either one of those would have done it. Okay, so that was last year. Matt won. He's rolling in. He started the draft. We're in 2024, and we've completed our initial draft. Since there are 4 of us this time around, we each drafted 6 games, and we may or may not have changed our publisher names. And we're going to talk about that. Alex, you have a new name. No longer Chic Games. What's this about?
So, you know, we're in a new year, new me, you know, reborn like the phoenix, but also, in this case, not a phoenix, but a dragon. And so for those of you that are in tune with, you know, the Zodiac, 2024 is Year of the Dragon. Mm-hmm. And like one of my favorite franchises that, you know, I ended up not being able to draft a certain game that's coming out very soon. But Like a Dragon coming out, you know, end of January. And so with that mantra, it's the Year of the Dragon. I love this franchise. And with the strength of a dragon, I would say we are very dragon-esque. And so that's where I came up with the name this time. You know, we're bringing the heat this time, hopefully hopefully these drafted games score well. At least, mid to upper 80s. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't need 90s, but if everyone does 80s, that'd be great.
Okay. Shall we go through the rest of our publisher names before?
It makes me very happy that I got Like a Dragon now, but also we have to remember you had the opportunity. Just don't forget
this is
that.
true. When we get into the drafting, I guess we'll talk about the strategy.
He was too busy trying to screw me out of my title that I've drafted for the past 3 years.
Okay, do we just want to get into the drafts then? Let's just get into
it. Let's get into it.
I first picked this year Hollow Knight Silksong. And guess what? It's because Matt didn't first pick it because he didn't believe.
No.
Because like his titular studio believes
Listen,
studios,
here,
Matt.
Come closer. Everyone that's listening, come closer to your mic or to your headset or wherever you're at.
Yeah.
I am doing a service for you because when Hollow Knight Silksong is on my list, on my roster, it does not come out. And so I think this is the year for us to get this as the world, Hollow Knight Silksong. So I had to just give it away. And Alex is, I guess, the foster home for my poor baby. It's just been sitting there with zeros for 3 years.
Marinating. Yeah.
I mean, I need the help since I got dead last year.
That's true.
This is the donation that Matt gifted onto me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt, what did you pick instead?
Yeah, see, I couldn't go with Hollow Knight Silksong. I am on the hype for one of my most anticipated games of this year, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This all started...
Gosh.
I guess, what is it? At the very beginning?
2020.
Yeah.
Of the pod.
Very beginning of the pod. Alex gave a recommendation for Final Fantasy VII Remake. I bought it when it went on sale, and I've been hooked ever since. Started looking up all sorts of spoilers. None of it made any sense to me. I actually just beat Crisis Core today to prep for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This morning, I was working, and I was listening to Sephiroth's theme music while I was working. I am so into this game, and I cannot wait. Comes out February 29th, 2024, and this is, it's bringing the fire, man. There's nothing bringing the fire like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
He's leaping for joy for the leap day release.
Wow,
that was a stretch.
Wow, Alex.
Yeah, that was.
This is the heat. This is the heat that we're bringing.
Too much heat. Bring it back.
I feel like my list is a lot. So my studio name is Nintendo. It's the same name I've been going for all 3 years prior. But I have very few Nintendo games on my list this year.
Interesting.
Mainly because I feel like there's a mystery. I'm gonna be honest. I think Nintendo's a big mystery this year.
Yeah.
And I was planning on drafting Princess Peach's Showtime, but that got taken away from me because I prioritized Tekken 8.
A very Tiffany game, honestly.
Yeah.
If I look at your list, this is what I think that's going to be your top of your list game this year.
Yeah.
But if we know from last year, it's definitely a smart pick, right? Because last year we had Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat 1 come out.
I thought you were about to dunk on Tiffany. Be like, as we know,
same.
Tiffany games do poorly.
Those releases did so well last year that obviously drafting a fighting game is very a solid first pick for those good points.
And this is the only fighting game that's coming out this year, right? Because Street Fighter 6 came out.
That we know of.
And then what else? A bunch came out last year. Yeah, Mortal Kombat. And then 2 years ago, was it? I forget the name of it. I think I drafted it. Or maybe you drafted it, Alex. Do you remember what it's called?
Soul Calibur 6?
Maybe. I don't think so. But, okay. All right. Tekken 8. Good pick.
Okay.
Yeah, I just need the points. Getting the winning, crown, slipped out of my grasp. I was like, get me the points. Yoster, I really like your team name, Squirtle Squad Studios.
Love it.
Yes. So for my first year on the Fantasy Critic draft, I figured I'd go with an origin story. My first favorite game, Pokemon. My first favorite Pokemon, Squirtle. Matt totally didn't just help me figure out the name 5 seconds before we started.
Yeah.
So with my first pick, I figured I'd go with something that's very consistent across the board, and I picked Like a Dragon, like I mentioned earlier. I feel like it's going to do really well, and I can't wait to not play it. But I know it's going to do great.
You know what, Yasser? You and I, our publishers are the same. We can recognize great games,
Yeah.
but we won't play them. You know?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It's our motto.
Yeah.
Not everybody has winners at
By the
mottos, I
way,
guess.
let it be known.
Yeah.
Let it be known. This squad allowed the winner of last year to go first and the newcomer to go last. So just throwing that out there.
But you know what? You got to counterpick first.
When we go through our
you got
picks.
to counterpick first. You know, like
True.
There
That
are
is true.
certain
It is a
benefits.
snake
Mhm.
draft, so he got the 4th and 5th pick
Uh-huh.
back to back.
I had the 8th.
Yeah.
Which I really believe in my second pick for sure.
Oh, do
Tell
you?
us.
Oh, yeah.
us.
So
I don't know that it's coming
Oh,
out.
it's coming
I don't
out.
know.
It's going to be good.
I feel pretty
I'm pretty
confident.
confident.
I don't know when exactly, but I feel confident it's going to come out, and I feel confident it's going to be great. And that's Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. First game, absolute artistic masterpiece. Loved playing it. Can't wait to play this next one. I just want to know more, basically. And we got a little bit of a snippet. Was it during the Game Awards or was it during the Xbox Showcase? I already
I
forget.
feel like it was
I
like
think it was Game Awards.
2 or 3 years ago, too, at this point, right?
Oh, when they first
First
announced
announced
it,
it,
you mean? Yeah.
I thought we got
Yeah,
more
but
at the last
they've-
Game Awards.
Yeah, this past Game Awards, I know for sure that there was. Oh yeah, there was first of all like this orchestra set that they had, right?
Yeah.
And then afterwards, they revealed some additional gameplay. So yep, really looking forward to it. Can't wait to see when that comes out.
But I mean, good for you on getting that. But like, my beef with your publisher, Yasser, is that you took
Uh-huh.
my Princess Peach's Showtime.
That's right. I didn't need. Well, we do like diversity at Squirrel Squad Studios, and so we need to make sure we get Nintendo in there.
Okay. That's
and
fair.
Princess Peach Showtime is probably the heaviest hitter that we know about for sure right now.
For
I think,
Nintendo,
right?
yeah.
You would
Yeah.
not agree with that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually think that game looks fun.
It does. It does look fun.
Like everyone was kind of hyped for Mario Wonder, and then they like after it came out, they were like, "Oh dang, this is a great game," and I was like, "Really?" Because my hype for Princess Peach's Showtime is more than the hype that I had for Mario Wonder, but I also love a good outfit change. So like seeing her go through outfits with different powers, right? Like that looks fun.
Yeah, like I think this is the only new IP that Nintendo has even announced at this point. Announced like substantially with a date. So I don't know. I think it looks pretty good. I do wonder, like, this is what you always like run the risk of when you draft a Nintendo title. It's like, is it going to be good, like Wonder good, where you're getting like 90 plus points,
Right.
or you're gonna get like some
Or is
like
it going to be a
half-baked-
Detective Pikachu?
Yeah, like you know, like it's built for kids. You know, like when you say
Right.
like something critical on the internet, and everyone's like, "Well, this is for a child." You know, like you're not
Yeah.
allowed to hate on it because it's made for Billy. Like you never know which
Yeah.
Nintendo you're gonna walk into. But from what I've seen, it looks like a banger.
Yep. And as far as critic scores go, I feel like Nintendo gets a little bit more slack than your average
True.
studio as well. So that's why I like the pick personally.
I guess that's fair, because even with like Detective Pikachu Returns, I feel like people are very readily into crapping on Pokemon at this point because of like the graphics and everything, you know?
hmm
So maybe
Was that also a Game Freak game?
No.
Okay.
I feel like Pokemon. The problem with Pokemon is it comes out every year. I feel like if it didn't
Mhm.
come out every year, if they didn't have something Pokemon coming out every year, I feel like having like the Assassin's Creed where they took a little bit of time off and then the games got better and they reviewed better. Like, I don't know. I think, I know we all love Pokemon, but I think maybe it's time to like just take a pause. Just take a pause. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm asking for.
I mean, they kind of did. Like they didn't come out with a new game this year, only DLC
Mm.
or this year as in last year,
I guess that's
You know?
fair.
2023. It was only DLC. It's the only time.
Unless you count Detective Pikachu, right?
Guess.
See, they should have taken a pause. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Don't talk about Detective Pikachu. Please stop mentioning it.
Please respect my privacy at this time.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not that excited. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not that excited about my team right now.
You wanna
I'm gonna
run
be
through your
real.
team?
I mean, yeah, do you want to do
Yeah.
the whole rundown?
I'm gonna run through my team because I'm excited to talk about everyone else's
Okay,
team
all right.
more than mine. So I got myself a Tekken 8. The one game that I will be playing if this comes out, I drafted the Plucky Squire,
Looks
and
great.
I will play the hell out of that game. Like I drafted this game last year and it ended up not coming out, and I was devastated because number one, that meant I didn't get any points on Fantasy Critic, but number two, it meant I couldn't play it.
Did they have like any reason why? It was just a delay that they said.
I think it was just a delay.
It looks
they needed
so
to
good.
God,
Like the
it was
2D to
so-
3D. I'm such a sucker for that.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
rush Devolver Digital published games. You know, they always come out with the good hits.
And what I've learned
That's true. That's true.
probably 2 years ago is you don't counterpick Devolver Digital games because it will be a negative 10 to 15 at least.
Yeah. So then I got Dragon's Dogma 2, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, The Wolf Among Us 2, and Visions of Mana. Now listen here. Dragon's Dogma looked like it did pretty well.
Mhm.
So that's why I picked 2. That's why I picked number 2, and it has a release date.
The thing is,
Um,
it's gonna be good, but in a janky way, so people will love it. But I don't know if it'll score well.
Okay. I feel that. I think I feel that. Like, you know what though? Give me 82. Get me an 82 or something.
I don't know.
I'm okay with
It's gonna be jank, but it's like good jank. But I don't know what good jank translates to score wise.
I feel like an
Okay.
85.
I mean, Starfield
Yeah,
pulled it off last year.
85 is
Yeah.
like the jank meter. That was what Starfield got.
Yeah. Alex freaking counterpicked the Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League on me, which I understand. I was just like, yeah. that
Alex,
makes sense.
I
defend
want to
yourself.
believe. I want to
Yeah.
believe like how Matt believes in Rebirth over Hollow Knight Silksong, but as much as I want to play as Harley Quinn, you know, and shoot some big purple glowing orbs, right, and like you're swinging around, I don't even know what city you're in. Is it Metropolis? I think you're
it's
near
Metropolis,
Metropolis. And I just don't know if it'll review well. So I think that's another game where it'll be fun to play, but not necessarily get any
Get
sort
the
of
points.
good review scores.
We kind of been playing around this.
I think the
Oh,
concept.
Go ahead, Yas.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm
sorry,
like
Matt.
taking it way off field, so like you go for it.
I was just gonna say that I think the concept sounds really fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. But from what you guys have told me before we started recording, the news recently hasn't been great. As far as just like we haven't heard great things as far as what the content's gonna look like and
Yeah.
what the gameplay is gonna be like. So that's concerning. I still believe in Rocksteady though. They haven't really put out a bad game yet, so I'll believe it when I see it as far as a bad game is concerned. So good luck, Alex. We'll see how it goes.
So the real question is
Uh,
this. You know, we've kind of been flirting around this all night. Are the four of us going to squad up and play this game? Because I'm down. I'm down to clown. Because this looks like a fun
That's
game.
true.
I love this world.
No, I'm the clown. I'm Harley Quinn.
That's true. That's true. I think, Yas, you and I get like the two more boring characters because I think they both.
That's
picked it.
okay.
I want to be King Shark.
Oh, okay. The shark does look pretty badass.
you're
not gonna
either-
lie. Okay, fair.
Is it? It's
Boomerang Boy.
Captain Boomerang.
Oh my god.
Boomerang Boy. You could be called Boomerang Boy if you want.
I'd love to be called that, Matt.
That's gonna be the story.
And then what's the other guy? Death Shot or something like that?
I don't. Oh, Deathlock, right?
Sure.
No, dead
Deathlock?
shot.
Dead
Oh,
Shot.
Deathshot.
Oh my
Oh, gosh.
god.
So we got the two A tiers coming up last. Yeah, I think
Deathlock is from Marvel.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun.
Wait, let me
You know-
double check. It's coming out March 20. Oh, February 2nd.
Yeah.
Yo, Matt. But let's be honest.
Okay.
3 weeks to pound that game out. I don't know, before Final Fantasy Rebirth. Like,
That's plenty of time,
I
probably.
think.
you think
Yeah,
so?
the campaign's gonna be like 5 hours, and then it's just gonna be post game grind.
Yeah.
Wait, no way.
hope
Is
not.
you think so?
I think it's a solid 15-20 hour experience, maybe, campaign wise.
Rocksteady's known for their campaigns. Yeah, there's no way it's gonna be that short.
We don't think it's gonna be
hopefully.
like
Oh
Call
my
of
God.
Duty
I hope
2023.
not. Okay,
Oh my
let's get away from this topic. It's making me sad.
Okay. Okay, Wolf Among
Well-
Us 2.
That's who I counterpicked, and I
Yeah.
hate, like
That's a
I
good-
have.
That's a good one.
How many people have I recommended Wolf Among Us to? Have I recommended to everybody on this podcast? I feel like I
You
have. It is
Mhm.
one of my favorite Telltale games of all time. It is one of my favorite stories.
first
Yeah,
one.
sorry, the first one. One of my favorite stories of all
Yeah.
time. I think it lifted that genre in such a way that it really hurt me to counterpick it, but I counterpicked it for two reasons.
Yeah.
One, I don't know if I believe in Telltale anymore. They actually, like, at the end of
Okay.
last year, they
Mhm.
laid off even more people, and part of the people that got laid off are the devs for The Wolf Among Us 2. Just makes me think with that, it
Oh.
was supposed to be March of 2023, so you might be thinking, oh, well, it's surely going to come out sometime in 2024. Yeah, it might, but I just don't know what is left at that point. Like, with all the devs that left,
Okay.
it kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. That made me not as excited for it. I will still check it out if it comes out, but I just don't know. Like, it's kind of one of those things. Like, the people that made it so special are the people that are getting laid off. So I don't know. I don't know what's left at this point. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it comes out and it's awesome, but it just makes me a little bit nervous. And when everybody else is like putting up all these awesome games, you have to pick something to counterpick. And so I kind of had to
That's
close my
true.
eyes and draft it.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that the information about the layoffs and stuff, so that's kind of a bummer for me. I might have not picked this if I was more in the know. But you know what? Also, sometimes I'm YOLOing it. Like with my last pick, Visions of Mana. This is like the first game in the Mana franchise since like, what did it say? Like 15 years, I think. There hasn't been a Mana game, so who knows what this is going to be like. But I picked it because I was like, well, this surely will come out on Switch. And I need another Switch game for my publishing party.
Have you played any of the Mana series? Like anyone?
Nope. I
Alex?
have not.
I've started Trials of Mana, like the remake that came in like 2018,
Okay.
but I haven't like gone past the first like area. It's definitely like your more simplistic like linear action RPG. So I feel like games like Final Fantasy VII Remake have like kind of taken that step forward with kind of showing how Square can evolve that style. So hopefully maybe Visions takes something that Rebirth has done and maybe that Remake did, that kind of pushes the Mana series forward, because honestly, not having played any of the other prior games, I feel like they've taken the elements of that franchise and put it into their other franchises. So hopefully they've innovated in some other way, or maybe this is just kind of like, we're coming full circle where those franchises have benefited from what it started, and now it can benefit from what those have evolved upon.
So, who would like to go next?
I'll go next. So I've already
Okay.
kind of talked about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It is going to head up Believe Studios. I guess I never officially announced. Since, a bunch of great success in 2023, we decided keep same management, keep same structure. Let's just keep doing the same thing. Get that second win in a row.
Oh.
So Believe.
Okay.
We're believing in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And could you believe that Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, one of Matt's favorite games of all time, all the way from the GameCube, is coming back? We were talking pre-show, I did not think this was a remake. I thought this was almost like a reskin.
A remaster?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that we wouldn't be able to draft it, but I guess I was wrong, because it's coming out supposedly in 2024 and we can draft it. So 100% drafting these. Can't wait. Have you guys played this? Anyone played this?
No.
Oh,
I have not.
God.
I just have the origami.
This is the
king.
time for
This
us,
is
Matt.
the
Yeah.
time.
This is
Why
It's
they're releasing it.
showtime.
It is showtime.
You
This
know?
is so good. You want something to play on your Switch 2 or on your Super Switch? Here we go.
Oh, spoiler
Thousand Year
alert.
Door.
Oh, what if that's the titular title?
That is not going to be the titular
That'd be
title.
sad.
Oh,
I love it so much.
I'm just asking a
it
question.
would be to me, but I'm sure something else will come out at the same time. Could you imagine Metroid Prime 4 coming out as like
Oh
I
my
might
God.
die. You guys might have to come to my house and make sure I'm still living.
Resuscitate you.
I mean, that's like a meme
Yeah.
at this point,
Yeah,
is it not?
yeah. It's going to be the new Silksong, I tell you. So after this remake, we are going for Persona 3 Reload, which is the remake for Persona 3. I played Persona 5 Royal the first time this past year. Really loved it. So I can't wait to see that treatment for another game. I've never played Persona 3. Don't know if people like it. Like, Alex, you're the only hope to play this. Like, did you play Persona 3 before?
No, but I will be playing Reload.
Okay.
That is on
All
the
right.
list.
Did you already
So-
purchase it? Did you pre-order it?
I have not pre-ordered it, but
Then
whenever I
it's
get
not
around
good
to playing
enough.
it, I
It's not
will
good enough.
report back here
Dang.
and
Okay.
let y'all know.
Persona
Or maybe I'll do a 1XP episode on it. Who knows?
Persona
Okay.
3 Reload comes out the same time as Suicide Squad, the same day. I wonder which one's going to win. I don't know. The first game that comes out this year is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. It comes out in like 2 weeks. This just looks really awesome. It's like a side scroller. It looks really fun, really kinetic. I'm really down for this game.
Are you gonna play it like on release? You think? Is it gonna come to Game Pass?
I don't know. That's a good question. They just announced a whole slew of games that come out the next couple weeks, and it wasn't included. I feel like they probably would have included it, but I don't know.
Okay.
I have so many things that I want to play this year. I'm like from last year that I might not get to it. I
Yeah.
might just see if like all the reviews come out.
What the
Yeah.
hype's all about?
And then I've got Stalker 2 and Replaced. Stalker 2, someone counterpicked last year of mine, and then this is the developer that was very affected by the war in Ukraine, and then they stopped development for a time and then didn't release it. It's supposed to come Q1, and I really hope it does, because I think a lot of people are looking for that to be kind of like the hot ticket item for Xbox. So we'll see. Replaced.
Okay.
Another is like a Belarus studio, so another studio that's kind of taken a little bit of time off, and we'll see. It's more of like a sci-fi 2.5D side scroller. It looks really good, but one of you did not think it looks really good, or actually didn't know anything about it, right, Tiffany?
Yep, that was me. Yep, had no idea, and I was like, I'm gonna pick a game that I don't know about. And it didn't work well for me the last 2 years. But
Maybe this is the year.
I thought maybe third time's the
That's right.
charm.
Like, honestly, we haven't seen much of this game in a long time, so there's
Mhm.
nothing that's saying that it'll actually release this year. So maybe you're right, but it looks really good. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, the art looks amazing.
Well, dang.
We'll
Dang
see.
for me.
Well, it might not release, so you
Yeah.
might have
Yeah,
picked
you
a
might
good
pick
one.
one.
Yeah,
honestly.
that's fair. Yasser, do
All right,
you want-
Alex, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I'll go last as the newcomer.
Okay. Dragon-esque Studios.
All right.
Or
Speaking about counter picks, my first pickup, as I mentioned before, Hollow Knight Silksong. Yasser actually counterpicked this. Yasser, do you want to explain yourself?
Easy decision. Easiest decision of my life. When is this game coming out? All right, I'm trying to help them.
It's
I'm trying to
coming out in
encourage them.
2024. That's when it's coming out.
Wow.
Okay.
All right, I
Oh
hope
my
so.
God.
But have we even heard anything about Silksong?
No, nothing.
Come on, man. You can't pick it as your first game. We
Let
haven't
'em
even seen
cook.
anything.
Let him cook.
Oh my god. All right,
God.
I'm praying for you.
Are they going to
friend.
eat and take no
Remember when
crumbs?
Xbox
Whatever
was like,
they say.
everything shown today will come out in 6 months, and Silksong was on that list?
they
and
show
it was like
Silksong?
a year and a
Yeah.
half ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
death sentence. Thanks, Phil.
All right, following it up, Metaphor ReFantagio. So it's basically fantasy Persona. But what really puts this apart from other things that might also be called fantasy Persona or what have you is that this is developed by Atlus's development team that made Persona 5. So
okay.
you know, with how great Persona 5 was, that development team has the chops to make a turn-based RPG. Now they're trying it in the fantasy setting. It's going to be good. I have high hopes for it. That's also, I was kind of sad that it was announced for a fall release this year, but I guess they wanted to put some time in between P3 Reload and Metaphor. They don't want those overlapping.
Here's a question for you. You've played other Personas, right? Like than just 5, or have you only played Persona 5?
No. He played...
I've played every Persona 5.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, never mind.
Except the dancing game.
Strikers.
I really enjoyed the music in Persona 5. Like that was like one of the best things about that game. And it seems like it fits that well, like that almost not futuristic, but kind of like present time and like poppy and everything. Do you think that like I couldn't even imagine like that music in like a fantasy based game? Like, is that a big deal to you? I don't know.
I mean, I think obviously it's going to adapt. With even Persona 5, they went with that jazz style, and that was part of P5's like identity.
Okay.
And so I think they've always done a good job in matching kind of each like entries and as they call it, right, the whole persona, right, of diving into a certain color scheme, right? So obviously P3 is blue, P4 was yellow, P5 was red, and then kind of accompanying the music and ambiance and everything with the theming. Okay. And so this being fantasy might come off as more generic in some cases, maybe, right, like other fantasy titles. But I hope, since this is that team's first take on it, right, like there hasn't been this kind of true fantasy style that they've done, right? Everything's been more kind of, I guess, biblical in nature, right? A lot of their designs are very kind of biblical. You have these like gods and demons in their designs, and so maybe skewing more towards fantasy. Maybe they take inspiration from stuff like Lord of the Rings or The Witcher. So I can't really say to what they will do, but I'm definitely excited because it's their first attempt.
Okay.
But maybe it does come off as super generic, but who knows? With that, talk about fantasy. Black Myth Wukong, for those of you that are in the know or not in the know, Journey to the West inspired story, the Monkey King. And so I'm really excited because it's delving into this type of story, right, or this, historical story fiction that hasn't been, I guess, tried in, a lot, especially like for pop culture.
Dragon Ball.
Sure, but I'm saying in terms of like making a game that's like more based around that fantasy story. Like Dragon Ball's inspired by it, but it's like obviously a take, and this seems a little bit more closer to that canon story. And so I'm excited. It's got a Souls-like feel, right? You look at the combat, you look at the visuals. This gives that vibe. Like this is going to be a game that pushes you to your limits. Not to say it'll be a hard game, but it'll be a game that I hope isn't something that, people take down very easily, and maybe that gives it its status, right? This is made by a Chinese developer. I'm not sure what they've made in the past, but it seems to be this kind of like first game amongst like a wave of games that's coming out of China that's kind of like breaching into the Western, audience, and hopefully it's kind of leading the charge of more Chinese developed games to kind of break through to a global audience. So definitely excited for that.
Yeah. I heard about this like a couple times recently, actually, and I was curious because I was going to ask you if you'd known about the developer ahead of time. It sounds like you hadn't.
No,
I'm curious if you know more about like why the hype is so strong for this. Like I hear about it a lot in gaming websites and gaming news, and it looks good, but I want to know more about like understanding the hype. What do you think?
I think originally the hype was just this. It's taking the theming of Journey to the West, but having another Souls-like game, right? Because like we talked about previously with Matt's draft, right, with Liza P, or lack thereof draft of it, that it seems like the industry is kind of starved for these, Souls-likes, right? It's like, unless it's a From Software game, typically they haven't been the best. It's only been recently with stuff like Liza P where we're getting closer, right? Like other studios can capture the kind of feeling, not necessarily the exact same as how From Software does it, but it's good enough where they make their own choices that make it distinct enough where you can still enjoy that style of gameplay. And so I think it's that combination of it looks to be matching that. And also when it originally was revealed, right, there was like a quote unquote gameplay trailer shown. It looked gorgeous. This was a game that looked amazing, high resolution, high frame rate. The way the models interacted with the environment, like I think it was Wukong, like he was walking through snow and the snow was, as we've seen in games, but right, kind of falling to the wayside very naturally with his footsteps. And so it was a game that seemed to be couched in kind of realism. And I think that also goes a long way where it's like if the game is kind of showing all these things where it's reacting to your right inputs to your gameplay, that's what a lot of people look for. So I think it's just that kind of generic combination of it looks good, and I think there have been positive feedback. People have tried it out. There have been demos of it. And so I think it's positive for the fact that we haven't seen anything really negative yet from the game itself.
Awesome. And it's an Unreal Engine 5 game, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
like you said, the graphics definitely seem to be pushing the edge. Yeah, for sure.
My next game, Earthblade. So when I drafted this, I'm pretty sure none of you
I was
What
like,
is
I was
this?
like,
what
what
Earthblade
is that?
is.
Yeah, what
no
is
idea.
that?
And typically, I like to have this one draft game that you guys don't know anything about. And so Earthblade is a Metroidvania.
Oh, okay.
It's a 2D platformer. And what really gives it its pedigree, it's made by the developers of Celeste. So if you know platforming via Celeste, then you might have maybe this comes up on your radar then. So hopefully it comes out this year. They showed it, I think it was not last year's Game Awards, but the year before that, 2022.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like them panning over the map. And so, they haven't shown really a lot of gameplay yet, and maybe that's a sign that it's not coming out this year. But if it does come out this year, I have high hopes because that studio has done great, and especially the music in Celeste was great. So hopefully they got Lena Raine back to compose the soundtrack for this too, so that'd be fantastic.
Okay. I'm glad I didn't counterpick that one.
You know what's
honest.
really funny? Do you know what the developers are called?
Extremely
okay Games. That is so funny. Where like Celeste was like Game of the Year nominee. Like it was like 90 plus on OpenCritic. Extremely okay.
Yeah, I just Googled it. I just Googled it too, Matt. I didn't know it off the top of my head.
So funny.
It's a great name.
All right, next. There's only one word to describe why I drafted this. Democracy. And in case you don't understand that's meant for Helldivers 2. So
I was looking at it. I had no idea what you were talking about.
Yeah, I was like, what?
If you're not familiar with Helldivers, this is your co-op. At least the original was a co-op isometric shooter where you're basically blasting bugs. Like you're traveling through the galaxy, you're spreading democracy. And in the process, you're encountering some bugs. You just gotta zap them. You gotta blast them. And what really drives me, I love Helldivers 1. The main gimmick is friendly fire is always on, so you gotta watch where you're shooting. It's carrying it forward with Helldivers 2. You can't just be blasting everywhere. You gotta watch where your teammates are. When you call down drop pods for reinforcements and supplies, you can drop that drop pod on your teammate and it'll squish them and kill them. And that's all part of the charm that goes to show, when you're spreading democracy throughout the galaxy, it ain't as easy as it looks.
Casualties are going to happen,
Exactly. And so I'm really excited for it. They did change it. It's not an isometric top-down shooter anymore. It's a third-person shooter, so it's a little bit more traditional. But I think that's because they got a little bit more of a budget bump, right, with Sony, I think, investing in that studio. So I'm excited for it. It comes out next month, so who knows? It's gonna compete with Suicide Squad in that regard too. Because maybe I'll play Suicide Squad with you guys, and once Helldivers 2 comes out, I'm jumping ship to that. I gotta go spread democracy throughout the galaxy.
Okay.
Do you think that would be like a PS Plus title?
I think eventually, yeah, because I think the first one was on PS Plus. So at some point we'll get it. But on the plus side, it is a $40 release, so it's not a full price game. That's $39.99.
All right.
Okay.
And it is on PC, so this isn't in PlayStation. It will be PlayStation and PC at launch. So I don't know if there's crossplay, but at least those options will be available.
And your last game, your
the
last pick for the
So,
draft.
I didn't know this was coming out this year. Who knows if it's even coming out this year? Fantasy Critic had it on their list of available to draft, so I just picked it. Flight Sim 2024. All I know is when the last Flight Sim came out, Matt got a lot of points for it, and so based on that, I believe in his belief in Flight Sim. So if Flight Sim 2024 comes out, I hope it gets me a lot of points.
Okay.
That's a good argument. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Has anyone actually played the Flight Sim games here?
No.
I've not, no.
Listen, I tried. It's on Game Pass. I tried. It is freaking complicated. Let me tell you. They have like controls for every little knob on whatever airplane you're trying to pilot, and it is not like you're just pick it up and enjoy yourself. I mean, you can. There are modes where you can do that, and it's beautiful.
Okay.
But otherwise, if like you're really trying to get into it, it is very complicated. Just wanted to throw that out there. I tried it. Very
I saw
interesting
something
game.
online because they just recently, or maybe I just keep hearing about it. They polled a bunch of guys, and they polled them to see how many of them thought that they could land a plane without training, and like 60 to 70% of men thought that they could, like with no training whatsoever.
No way.
And
And did they make them do Microsoft's Flight Simulator?
no, but someone was like, obviously 60 to 70% of men have not played Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah. For sure. It's insane.
Wow. That's crazy that they would think that, though.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no
I know,
way.
right?
Yeah.
No, I can crash. Maybe I'll die. Maybe I won't, but I could try. But like, no, I'm not gonna land.
Oh, honestly, when they asked that, did they mean like a full
They meant a
jet
full-
kind of
full
thing?
plane.
They
Okay,
had
not
to.
like one of those like 1 or 2 seater ones.
I don't know actually.
Because maybe that's somewhat more
Yeah, I'm not
doable.
sure.
But even then, I'm still
Yeah,
probably
no.
dying. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, transitioning to Squirrel Squad Studios. This is my first year. Never really done this before. So for me, I kind of tried to stick to the heavy hitters. Some that I've played and some that I honestly haven't. But I've heard good things about the ones that I haven't, as far as like the sequels are concerned. So obviously, Like a Dragon falls into that latter category.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think we talked about Princess Peach earlier, but none of the other ones, right? Or
Sinuous.
Did we?
Saga.
We talked
We only
about
talked about
Peach
those two, right?
because I shouted you out for taking it from me.
yeah, exactly. So my second pick after Like a Dragon was Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. I think I mentioned this one as well, but obvious no-brainer. Can't wait to play that. And then the rest are new. So Rise of Ronin. I know the developer through the Neo games. The Neo games that me and Matt are very in tuned in because we played an entire mission.
At least
and,
2 hours in.
We haven't finished it quite yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we really know how good
This
Great
this
could be-
2
amazing dev
hours,
is, obviously.
honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So honestly, it was a great time. Yeah, I agree. But obviously, we know their pedigree, so I feel pretty confident in that pick. And then going through Princess Peach, obviously, and then after that, I picked Frostpunk 2. Another gaming franchise that I haven't played personally, but I know friends, especially on my Steam's friends list, that have played it and have recommended it. And the open critic score of the first game was bonkers, like over 90,
Oh, wow.
I think. So I'm definitely it's definitely on my radar. I probably will play the first one leading up to it because I've heard great things about that game too. And it's really cheap on Steam. But easy pick for me, I think. Pretty excited to have that on my Squirrel Squad studio. And then lastly, I did something that was a little bit more of a risk, I'd say, and I picked Avowed. I think they have confirmed it's coming out in 2024, but
there's no
whenever they
date.
just say 2024, yeah, I do get a little anxious because, especially after post-COVID, it is a lot more difficult at times to try to meet those deadlines. And we know in general, a lot of Microsoft studios lately have not been hitting their deadlines.
Mhm.
So for that reason alone, I feel like it's kind of a risk, but they've showed gameplay already. And I'm really excited about being able to play it on Game Pass. Hopefully it releases in 2024. And I'm pretty excited to see that I'm the only team so far that doesn't have a counter pick. So let that be known as well.
I guess that's
I was waiting for you to
fair.
pick up Hades too, man.
I'd love to pick that up, but yeah, I don't feel confident about that game. I can't believe no one picked it, but I guess none of us really feel confident that's coming out this year.
I don't think it's going to get a score. Like,
That's my
I could see
concern.
beta
That's my
access
concern.
or early access, whatever, coming
Yeah,
out. But, like, I don't
I
think
have heard about that.
no one's going to be scoring an early access game, I feel like. Or I don't know.
This year only getting 6 games. It's like you only have 6 games. You want to make sure like at least 5 of them are releasing this year. Like you can't take too many risks on draft day this year.
Yeah, that's true.
So, question for you guys: are we going to be able to pick up other games now throughout the year,
Yeah.
and how many more can we pick up?
So we are each going to be picking up 7 games.
7 games on top of the 6 that we have.
Correct.
Okay.
And that will be done throughout the year. It honestly, we usually do secret, like we just keep track of it on ourselves. We're not really clamoring about it unless, we've kind of filled up our roster or we've noticed like, holy crap, you really spent $72 on Super Mario Wonder,
Listen, that's what winners do.
Worked out.
Yeah, so we kind of just like
unannounced Mario launch game comes out for the Super Switch, I'm putting all 100 in for that.
Yeah, I'm saving it for that.
Oh my god, if you do that and you have like 3 more slots left, you are just going to be clamoring for scraps at that point. We did,
as you've seen, I draft a lot of things that aren't even on your guys' radar. So I'm here, in the weeds looking for.
Yeah, and you came out last year, so there's that.
That's fine.
Well, that actually leads me to my next question. Can you bid $0 for a game?
Yes, we did allow bidding $0. We have $100 for the year, with none of the money rolls over. So we didn't have any left. I left over money last year, but we didn't get that. So we have $100. Yeah. We go out throughout the year. We each have one additional counter pick that we have to do basically by November 30th. You have until November 30th to counter pick one other game. If you do not counter pick a game, you will get like negative like 20 points. Like,
oh, sheesh.
Yeah, just for not. So we got to kind of keep abreast of other people's lists and stuff. And I think the bids go through like on
Saturday night?
Saturdays. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think right now it says, bids process in about almost 3 days. Yeah, so Saturday night. Any other questions? You can follow us. The audience can follow us on fantasycritic.games if they look for RXP Podcast. You can follow along. We have 0 followers right now. We'll take anyone to follow our draft.
And if anyone has any advice, let me know. I can be the people's champ. We can win together, guys.
Okay.
Just give me all the intel.
You and the audience collectively could be the Squirtle Squad, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Join the Squirtle Squad. Be one of us.
Yeah. Okay.
I do love that counter picks lock in the pick for someone else too.
Yes.
So like if you notice someone pick a questionable game later on in the year, you just need to lock that in quick so they can't drop. So you can drop games too, right? How often can you do that?
We can drop if they officially say, if the studios officially announce that they will not be releasing this calendar year, we can drop those games unless it's counterpicked. And we are allowed to drop one game that will release. Like if we change our mind.
Okay, so infinite for if it doesn't release, but if it's going to release, only one game can be dropped. Okay.
Correct. I don't know if you get the money back based on, like, if you pay money. Yeah, I don't know about those logistics. Also, full remakes are allowed. We're not doing any ports or, like, partial remakes or remasters or anything. Basically, we're trying to keep to the new game situation for this draft.
That's kind of what it's exciting about this year, at least for what we have so far. There's not that many remakes, which we love to see. There's a lot of new game franchises, sequels to great games that we know about already. So pretty excited about this year. 2023 obviously was great, but I think the one asterisk is there were a lot of remakes and a lot of just like known commodities that came out. So it'd be nice to have a year that also is as good, but less remakes in general. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, thanks for listening to this episode. I'm really excited for this. Again, you can follow us on fantasycritic.games, RXP Podcast. You can follow us on YouTube. Please subscribe and like our video. We'd like to thank Grandmaster Doug for the tunes. And we'll talk to you next time. Our next episode I'm super excited about. We're going to talk about what our most anticipated experiences for 2024 is going to be. Look out for that. Have a great day.
Do I click record or stop? Yeah, you can. Do I click record or stop to stop? Okay, cool. That makes sense.
Democracy.
Boomerang boy.